Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome everybody to the council chambers here at Michigan City Hall for today's final of two candidate forums sponsored by the League of Women Voters of LaPorte County and Access LaPorte County. My name is Drew White. I am the Director of Operations for Access LaPorte County. This is our second forum in 2 evenings. I want to take a minute to thank all the candidates from the LaPorte Forum last evening. And I would really like to thank everybody that is here to participate in this evening's forum tonight. Real quick, I don't often get a chance to recognize my team, but here we have Kevin Harmon, Anna Galloway, and Andy Steele on the controls over there, and Lee Schelling back in the studio. They do an outstanding job of bringing you the municipal meetings that you find on Access LaPorte County Channel 97 and on our website, www.accesslaportecounty.org. We would like to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, and I would like to turn it over to our moderator for tonight's forum, Bonnie Schaaf. Bonnie, thank you.
Thank you, Drew. Good evening. My name is Bonnie Schaaf. I am the Voter Services Chair for the League of Women Voters of LaPorte County. And on behalf of the board, membership, and our co-presidents, Regina Riddell and Karen Bernacki, we welcome the candidates and the audience members, and thank you all for coming. The League of Women Voters of LaPorte County is a nonpartisan organization which does not support or oppose any candidates or political parties. We encourage informed and active participation in government. We study and advocate for public policies. We reach out to the public with civic education programs at our monthly lunch and dinner meetings with community leaders as speakers. We engage voters through candidate forums, voter registration drives, and with our online voters guide, vote411.org. We welcome women and men who want to assure that democracy works for everyone. Be sure to check out our voters guide at vote411.org. Here you can apply to register to vote. You can check your voter registration status, your polling place and directions to it, what to bring with you to vote, and how to apply for an absentee ballot. You can preview what's on your ballot on vote411.org, and you can read the survey questions which the candidates have answered, and you can compare their answers. If you find that some of the candidates on your ballot have not answered the Vote 411 survey, please encourage them to do so. We have some important election dates coming up. This coming Monday, April 3rd, is the deadline for voter registration, and the next day is the first day of early voting. Thursday, April 20th, is the deadline to submit an application to vote by mail. And Monday, May 1st at noon is the deadline to request to vote by travel board. Early voting will be available at 2 locations in LaPorte County. One is in LaPorte at State Street Community Church, 209 State Street. And the other one is in Michigan City at 302 West 8th Street, the corner of 8th and Wabash Street. Early voting will be available starting next Tuesday, Monday through Friday, April 4th through the 28th, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at both of these locations, and also the last 2 Saturdays before the election, which is April 22nd and the 29th, from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. at those locations, and then Monday, May 1st, from 8 a.m. to noon. Election day is Tuesday, May 2nd, from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. The polls will be open. The mobile voting unit will be in use part of the month of April, but the election board has not yet determined those hours or locations, but they will announce on the schedule on the LaPorte County website on the election board page. So be sure to watch that. But be sure that you vote. That's the important thing. As a citizen. By voting, you participate in the democratic process. The right to vote is the most enshrined right in the Constitution and is protected by 5 separate amendments. Whatever you do, make sure you vote. We want to thank all of the candidates here tonight, those that are up here already and those that are still in the audience. A few of them were unable to attend tonight due to work or illness or other commitments. The rules for this forum are as follows. The moderator, that's myself, and the screeners who are sitting over here at this table will determine the order of the presentations. The candidates will be given 2 minutes for an opening statement, 1 minute to answer each question from the audience, and 1 minute for closing remarks. In the interest of time, the number of questions for the candidate may be limited. A candidate who is unopposed or whose opponent is not present will still be allowed to answer questions. The timers are sitting here next to me in the front row, and one of them will hold up a yellow card as a 15-second warning for the candidates, and a red card when the candidate's time is up and they need to finish their sentence, their statement. Only written questions screened by the League of Women Voters Voter Services Committee will be accepted. And those are the screeners sitting over here. Press releases about this forum invited members of the public to submit written questions in advance by sending them to the League's email address, and we accept questions from audience members who are present tonight. League members have index cards and pencils for audience members to use to write their questions, and the League members will deliver those questions to the screeners. The League expects courtesy to be shown to everyone. The League will not allow personal attacks, yelling, name-calling, or showing disrespect, and will interrupt or stop a candidate if needed while the clock is ticking. No outbursts or disruptions are allowed from the audience members, or they will be asked to leave. Please remember, this is a forum, not a debate. No visual aids will be permitted, and candidates may not display any campaign materials here tonight. Audience members, please submit your questions at any time, including while the candidates are giving their opening statements and answering questions. This forum tonight is for the City of Michigan City municipal candidates, and we'll begin with the ward candidates, 1st through 6th wards for the Michigan City Common Council. There are 12 candidates total, and I believe 8 of them are present tonight. Someone got sick and canceled at the last minute, and now I can't count. And we're going to begin, though, with 2nd Ward candidates because both of the Democratic candidates are present tonight, and that's Daisy Lee and Paul Przyblinski. The Republican candidate for 2nd Ward is not here tonight, but we will continue with your presentation. So Daisy Lee, Democratic candidate for 2nd Ward, you may now give your 2-minute opening statement.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Daisy Lee, and I'm running for City Council in the 2nd Ward. Thank you all for having me here tonight, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting. I'm an educator. I've been coaching 8th grade volleyball and teaching 7th and 8th grade environmental science and STEM in Michigan City for the past 9 years. I'm a community organizer with experience locally with different nonprofits and serving on the Michigan City Sustainability Commission for the past 4 years. I've experienced internationally helping develop a rural community in Panama while serving in the United States Peace Corps. I grew up in the surrounding areas, but I happily chose Michigan City as my home for the past 6.5 years. I love Michigan City. I love the people here. I love our diversity. I love our beautiful Lake Michigan. I love our national park. I love how passionate our people are, and I love our students. Naturally, when you love something, you want to help make it the best it can possibly be. And that's why I'm running for City Council. I want to help bring positive change to Michigan City. I believe in a positive line of communication between Michigan City residents and the office holders that represent them. I believe in a City Council that works together with our police, firefighters, Parks Department, schools, and other city service providers to collaborate on community issues. I'm a visionary, action-oriented, I'm a problem solver, a collaborator, an educator, and a lifelong learner. I bring people together for a common cause, in this case, to make our own city a better place. Stand with me to help bring positive change to our wonderful town of Michigan City. Thank you for your support.
Thank you. And now, thank you. And now Paul Przybylski, Democratic candidate for 2nd Ward. You may now give your 2-minute opening statement.
Thank you. I would like to thank the league also and the people who are in attendance tonight and also on ALCO. I would like to say that I have lived in the 2nd Ward my entire life. I was born in the 2nd Ward and I stayed in the 2nd Ward to raise my children. I would also like to reiterate that I have many concerns, and experience is what counts. I served 4 years, 4 terms prior to now, and I was out of elected office for 10 years. During that time, I was an active Boy Scout leader at St. Joe Hall and participated in many forest replantings and different ecological projects at the camps and other camps. I also have a lot of experience on the city council, and I will tell you that experience counts, and we need to have people, not only that you want to run for office, but experience counts. And experience counts for a lot. I look at back over the different years. This previous year, we allocated a lot of money, and it did not. What I look at, it did not get allocated correctly. We had a sewer project in the 2nd Ward that has not been funded since out of different administrations, and I would like to also say that I'm an advocate for the 2nd Ward and improving our quality of life, and that I'm job ready. I don't need any on-the-job training. My experience counts. Thank you.
Thank you. And the first question will be for Paul Przybylski. What is your top priority for Michigan City, and what are your ideas to address this issue?
I have not just one top priority, but right now, my top priority is to get our pay equalized and bring it up so that we can attract more police and keep our police here and our fire department, and equipping our police and fire to provide proper safety protection to the neighborhoods.
Okay. Thank you. And Daisy Lee, the same question. What is your top priority for Michigan City, and what are your ideas to address this issue?
So my top 3 priorities are public safety, education, and environmental sustainability. And public safety and education, I believe, go hand in hand. Some of my top priorities would be getting more after-school programs for our kids in the community, so that they have more to do after school, and so they can stay out of trouble, and we can have a higher graduation rate and a higher college attendance rate and a higher career tech graduation rate as well.
Okay, thank you. And next question. Okay, this one will be, first will be for Daisy Lee to answer. What would you do to increase the availability of affordable housing?
One thing I would love to do is hire a grant writer for the city so we can have access to a lot of the funds that are available nationwide. A lot of the money from the Housing and Urban Development, there are a lot of grants available for that we could bring here to Michigan City, find funding and find organizations to partner with so that we can continue to have growth.
Thank you. And Paul Prismalinski, same question. What would you do to increase the availability of affordable housing?
Well, I think that I would work with the planning department to stop all the demolitions that we do when these houses get that deplorable, and to create some kind of ad hoc committee to work with Habitat for Humanity and other not-for-profits to rehab these homes and get them back on the tax rolls and get people back in the neighborhoods. Because I just don't believe that we should let these houses get that dilapidated when we tear them down. I think that would add to the housing stock, and it would not create that much of a price gap on new housing for people's income levels. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And for the final question for the two of you, and we'll begin with Daisy for this one. How will you make sure you are accessible and interact with your constituents?
I have an email address. As a middle school teacher, I have to have constant email access. I have a Facebook page with Facebook Messenger that I'm able to communicate with. I am very open to talking and collaborating with my constituents and making sure that I am available and making sure that their voices are heard and that they are able to get a response.
Thank you, Daisy Lee. And Paul Prismalinski, the same question. How will you make sure you are accessible and interact with your constituents?
Well, through our email and also through my telephone, I do answer all my calls, and my phone is always on 24/7. And just like this evening, I was on Pearl Street talking to some constituents about their sewer problems and showing them what I'm going to try to accomplish by introducing a piece of legislation that the city now fund their lateral repair out in the streets and the right-of-ways, and a couple other pieces of legislation that I introduced for next week's meeting is a permanent sidewalk repair plan and a permanent funding source for Brick Street replacement. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And now, Paul Prismalinski, Democratic candidate for 2nd Ward. You may now make your final statement up to 1 minute long.
Thank you. I have here today a report from the Sanitary District from 2017. And in that report, it talks about the Barker Lafayette Sewer Project. The Barker Lafayette Sewer Project has not been funded properly or even attempted to be properly funded. And I believe that for me and the residents, not only in the 2nd Ward, but in the 5th Ward, this is a priority, because I know, and that's part of investigating these problems, that these sewers, I asked the previous superintendent of the sanitary district, why am I not getting complaints like I used to? Well, I was told that they stuffed the sewers full of gravel to slow the flow of the water going into the system, and this is one of my big priorities, because if you don't have a sewer and you have your basement flooded, you have problems. Thank you.
Thank you. And Daisy Lee, Democratic candidate for 2nd Ward. You may give your final statement up to 1 minute long.
I'm very much looking forward to working with everyone in Michigan City. I'm looking forward to bringing my successes and my projects to a higher level and making sure that everybody's voice is heard and making a better, positive Michigan City.
Thank you very much. Okay, we will continue now with some ward candidates who are here. Their opponents are not here, so we will hear from Gregory Coulter, the Democratic candidate for 1st Ward, one of the Democratic candidates. The other one is not here. Also for 3rd Ward, Joseph Nelson is here running Democratic ticket for 3rd Ward, and his Democratic opponent is not here either. Is she here? Anyone? Okay, Agnes Meir. And Katrina Davis is here. Her Democratic opponent, Sean Fitzpatrick, is not here tonight. But Katrina and Joseph and Gregory, thank you all for being here. And then we'll have the 5th and 6th Ward candidates up here when the 3 of you are done. So, so we will begin with an opening statement by 1st Ward Democratic candidate Gregory Coulter. 2-minute statement.
So, hello, my name is Gregory Coulter. I'm a candidate for the City Council in the 1st Ward. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters and Access LaPorte County for the opportunity to speak tonight. I really value the opportunity to speak because in our democracy, having access to your candidates is paramount. So I really look forward to this. So I'd like to tell you a little about who I am and why I'm running for City Council. I grew up in Westville and moved around a bit, and when I came back, I had some options about where I could go, and I decided I wanted to live in Michigan City because the best part of Indiana is our lake, and it's an opportunity that I wanted to make the best out of. So I've been living in the 1st Ward for the last 5 years. In that time, I've worked as a librarian, I've worked for nonprofits, I've worked for the Michigan City Historical Society, and all of those have really helped to give me a really good understanding of what it's, the needs of Michigan City and the people who live here. In the next 5 years, because of the double tracking projects and the elevation of the national park, as well as some development that's happening downtown, we're expecting to get about 5,000 new people. And I'm really excited for that. Those people are going to be people that grew up in Michigan City who are ready to come back and have a place here, ready to raise families and participate in Michigan City again. So I'd like the opportunity to help lead Michigan City during that time. It's an exciting time that needs young leadership and new leaders to do that appropriately. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Gregory. And next we have Joseph Nelson, you're the Democratic candidate for 3rd Ward, correct? And your 2-minute opening statement.
First, I want to thank the women, the League of Women Voters. I appreciate the platform for being able to introduce myself. My name is Joseph Nelson. I was born and raised in the 3rd Ward. My family's resided there for well over 50, 60 years. We migrated here in '66 from Missouri in hopes of a better opportunity for my family. I've raised 2 beautiful kids. My daughter, she currently goes to Marquette, which is also in the 3rd Ward. My son will be graduating this year as a senior. I also run a small business on the 3rd Ward, Life is a Beach. When it comes to 3rd Ward, I am fully invested. Since I've been a child, I've listened to my father and grandfather take a sense of pride of growing up and investing and communicating and rubbing shoulders with people in the neighborhood. As I began to grow, I told myself I wanted to reciprocate that energy someday. I think right now is the best time to do that. With so many changes going on in the city with the double tracks, the maneuvering of the NIPSCO building, the development of different housings in the 3rd Ward, I just want to be a part of that. Not only do I want to be a part of that, I just want to make sure I'm an outlet for the voices that don't give voices on the west side for so long. So that's my purpose for running for 3rd Ward.
Thank you very much. And Katrina Davis, Democratic candidate for the 4th Ward, you may give your 2-minute opening statement.
Thank you, League of Women Voters, for inviting us out today. My name is Katrina Davis, and I currently live in the 4th Ward. I've been in LaPorte County for the past 12 years, lived in the 4th Ward for 8 years. As I was stating, I lived in the 4th Ward for 8 years, in LaPorte County for 12 years. My background is criminal justice and mental health. I'm advocate for youth. Have a degree in public administrations, my master's, my undergrad is in criminal justice. I enjoy Michigan City. I come from the state of Michigan originally, been back and forth from Michigan to Indiana. I'm looking forward to moving the city council forward, making sure that the residents in the 4th Ward voice is heard when it comes down to economic development. I'm looking to engage with the school corporation, increasing the number of Head Start candidates that are accepted. So that's why I'm running for Common Council for 4th Ward.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, and for your first question, Katrina Davis, we'll begin with you. What is your top priority for Michigan City, and what are your ideas to address this issue?
My top priority is to make sure that our police and fire department have necessary equipment so that they're safe when they go out to take care of our families. Like to make sure that there's youth programs introduced, nice, sound, structured youth programs introduced so that our youth are not getting in trouble. Also, to make sure that housing is attainable. I know that's going to be a tough situation, but it can be done. Talking with landlords, starting with the Housing Commission to see where they're at, what's going on with them, and moving forward so that Michigan City residents, all Michigan City residents, can afford housing.
Okay, thank you. And Joseph Nelson, your next question, is, what are your major qualifications for your office?
My major qualifications for my office is customer relations. I've been doing that for 20 plus years. Developing rapport, following up, consistently trying to find a better way to do things for my customers to make their life a little bit easier, being efficient. Those are some of my top qualifications.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and Gregory Coulter, what are your major qualifications for your office?
My major qualifications for my office is, as I stated earlier, like I've worked in nonprofits and the Historical Society, so I understand the history of Michigan City, the direction it's going in, and the way to get it there. I've got connections with people in all sorts of government and nonprofit positions. I've got the strong network there already, and I'm going to use that to give Michigan City the resources it needs.
Okay, thank you. And now, next question is for Greg Coulter. In keeping historical districts and their importance in mind, how do you foresee going forward in the designated historical areas as progress comes to the downtown area?
So as we develop in the historical districts, it's important to keep that culture alive. Being Michigan City is one of the most important parts of being Michigan City. That statement in itself just, it's a bit circular, but it's there. Like, the reason we're in this room is because we care about Michigan City. And part of that is that we don't have big fancy buildings, but buildings that look like each other. So making sure that the Franklin Street Historical District continues to look as it did in the 1890s, making sure that buildings like the Barker Mansion and the work going around it continue like they're going. That's part of our culture and our history, and that's what makes us proud about being in Michigan City.
Thank you. Thank you. And next for Joseph Nelson, how will you make sure you are accessible and can be interacted with by your constituents?
Good communication is going to require boots on the ground and just a presence in the community. A few things that I intend to do is monthly meetings where I continuously take the temperature of the neighborhood, see how things are going, where we can improve at. I'm trying to reflect on what we have improved in to make sure that we are reaching where we need to go. A monthly newsletter also for the people who can't potentially attend these meetings is something that I also intend to do once I'm the ward.
Okay, thank you. And Katrina Davis, question for you. What would you do to increase the availability of affordable housing?
Well, start having the conversation with the Housing Commission. Go in there and start talking with the Housing Commission and seeing what's going on. having a conversation with City Hall as far as what's going on with the houses, and once again, reaching out to the landlords, bringing them in to have a conversation so that we can build stronger communities. What are they doing with their housings? Are they willing to sell their houses for less? Looking at the first-time home buyer programs, introducing that, making programs available for those that are interested in buying housing. Talking with the apartment communities, trying to build a relationship with them so that felons are not left out, so they're allowed to rent in those places.
Okay, thank you. And final question, it will be the same question for all three of you, and we'll begin with you, Joseph. How do you propose to get residents more involved in community projects?
I think the first thing you need to do is create a sense of pride. If people don't actually care about what they're doing, they're not actually going to attend. So I think once we can get past the barrier of people taking ownership of enjoying the neighborhood and wanting to be a part of it, I think it'll be easy to bring people along to anything that we come up with.
Thank you. And Gregory, the same question for you. How do you propose to get residents more involved in community projects?
The more I'm involved with other projects, the more I hear the same question of how do we get more young people involved? And as a young person, I'm able to bridge that gap. So just my presence as a young person already invites younger people to join in some already ongoing projects. For example, as a member of the Democratic Party, I've worked with others to start the Young Democrats, which is a nice way to get young people to feel like they're involved without inviting them to something that is a little bit stodgy or works for the older generation, but really focusing on making sure that there are opportunities for young people where they're at and meeting them where they're at.
Thank you. And Katrina Davis, same question. How do you propose to get residents more involved in community projects?
Hit the ground running, trying to establish a neighborhood association, being able to be their ears and eyes, bringing information back to the association, back to the Fourth Ward, letting the residents know what's going on, inviting them to take a part.
Okay, thank you very much. And we'll conclude now with your closing statements, a 1 minute statement, up to 1 minute for each of you, and we'll begin with Katrina Davis.
Thank you once again for the opportunity. I look forward to being the Fourth Ward Councilwoman. Look forward to working with all the constituents, the residents of the Fourth Ward, bringing my ideas and my experience to the Fourth Ward, making the Fourth Ward a better place to live in.
Thank you. And Gregory Coulter.
I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters and Access LaPorte County again for the opportunity to speak today. I'd like to continue hearing from people in the First Ward. So for those residents, they can reach out to me. My website is coulterforcitycouncil.com. And then my phone number is 219-224-6260, and that's on the website as well. Pretty Googleable. So I'm looking forward to hearing from more First Ward residents and finding out more about what they're looking for in their city councilor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Joseph Nelson.
Peace, comfort, family, and options is something I envision for the Third Ward. I don't think it's any shock that we are probably the most undervalued neighborhood in the city. So I want to bring the importance of local government and how it can affect your day-to-day and make your life a little bit easier to the people in the Third Ward. And I think I'll be the best person for that.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's give a hand to all of the candidates. Thank you. Thank you. And you may be excused now. I think Drew was going to, either you can come out this way or go back there. I've never been back there. I don't know what that does. I'm not going. And we'll continue now with the 5th and 6th Ward candidates that are here. Tracy Tillman is Democratic candidate, unopposed on the Democratic ticket for 5th Ward. And in the 6th Ward, Nancy Moldenauer is running for 6th Ward on the Democratic ticket, unopposed on the Democratic ticket. Your opponent on the Republican ticket for the 6th Ward is not here tonight. But Nancy Moldenauer and Tracy Tillman, thank you very much for being here tonight. And we'll begin with your two-minute opening statement from Tracy Tillman, Democratic candidate for 5th Ward.
Good evening, everyone. As stated, I am Tracy Tillman, and I am running for the 5th Ward for my second term. I am currently unopposed for the 5th Ward. And as you know, within these past 4 years, they have been something awesome and amazing for the east side of Michigan City. As you know, we were able to have a new economic development of Dunkin' Donuts on Michigan Boulevard, and it's been over almost 10 years since a new development has come to that side of the city. And it was very nice to be instrumental to be a part of that forthcoming. Being on the city council has allowed me to represent those within the 5th Ward who may send me an email, I may receive a phone call, who have concerns or have a need of something that needs to be done in their neighborhood, in their yard, streets, or sidewalks. And I can tell you, one thing that my constituents or the residents can say is when they call, I come. During the pandemic, I got phone calls. I still went out and went to individuals' residence if they allowed me to do so to address their needs and concerns. I will continue to carry on that momentum going into the general election. If I am unopposed for the general, that I will carry that through for the next 4 years. I am still open to any recommendations or suggestions that the constituents may have. Any changes or developments that's coming with to Michigan City, my focus and goal is to make sure that Eastport is a part of that change.
Okay, thank you. And now Nancy Moldenauer, Democratic candidate for 6th Ward, Michigan City City Council.
Good evening, everybody. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting and organizing this event, and welcome to all the residents of Michigan City who are here to learn about the candidates. I was born, raised, and educated in Michigan City. I've lived outside of Michigan City, so I possess a broad view of what's possible for our community. I ran for mayor as an independent candidate in 2011, and since that time, I served on the Human Rights Commission for 7 years, the last 2 as chair, and currently I am chair of the Michigan City Sustainability Commission since 2019. My accomplishments are as follows. I updated the language in 23 ordinances to protect the rights of minorities and veterans. I've secured 2 free electric vehicle chargers for a public parking lot in town. I acquired Soul Smart designation from the U.S. Department of Energy, meaning Michigan City is solar ready and friendly. Also, I sourced job training courses with the NAACP of LaPorte County with the Soul Power program to certify solar panel installers in our community. I'm committed to claiming the hundreds of thousands of dollars from state and federal governments to increase the impact of our riverboat fund and our operating budget. I support job training opportunities and economic growth for green and technological jobs to keep our youth here. Also, the health, well-being, and quality of life for all residents is my #1 top priority. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nancy. Okay. Okay, Tracy Tillman, what are your major qualifications for your office?
My major qualifications are, 1, I have received my associates as a paralegal, and I have 30 plus years with the LaPorte County Prosecuting Attorney's Office for the Child Support Division. So being able to take my managerial skills, my customer service, I would be able to utilize that being a representation for the Fifth Ward to speak on the constituents' behalf. My dedication, determination, and perseverance, my willingness to listen. I have soft skills. We all have hard skills, but you have to know the individual to see what their soft skills and what they internalize, what they preserve. Also, I have served on boards and commissions. I have sat on the Michigan City Finance Committee 2 years as a committee woman and 2 years as chair.
Thank you. Thank you. And Nancy Moldenauer, your first question is, how will you make sure you are accessible and that your constituents can interact with you?
Thank you. That's a very important question. First of all of my constituents will have my phone number, and I promise to return every single phone call that I get. You can reach me right now at my Gmail account. That's nancyforvision@gmail.com. I would love to start hearing from you right now to know what your needs and concerns are as individuals, family members, and neighborhoods. Also, I will have a website, very much like Dahlia Zigas now has, where I will let you know what's happening in our community, and also I will keep it up to date with events that are happening so you know where to go. I'm also going to be going out into the 6th Ward. I don't believe you always have to come here or attend commission meetings or whatever. I will go to where the people are meeting in Ward 6 already, and I'll be very happy to meet with you and talk with you. So I'm going to be totally available. Thank you.
Thank you. And Tracy Tillman, your next question. How will you strike a balance between resident needs and those of residential or commercial developers?
Well, staying in contact with the residents, hearing their concerns of what they would like to see in the Fifth Ward, and taking that information to the Economic Development, to the Redevelopment Board, to the Planning Commission, Planning Director, to find out what type of economic development or infrastructures that can be brought that would benefit the Fifth Ward.
Okay, thank you. And Nancy Moldenauer, this question was written specifically for you. Where on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being low priority, would you place the protection of our natural resources?
Of course, number 1. I'm known as an environmental...
1 is low priority.
Of course, number 5. My dyslexia just came out there. I'm sorry. Of course, the highest number possible. I'm known as an environmental advocate in our community, and I believe every single Michigan City resident deserves clean air, clean water, clean land, and clean energy. And I will do everything within my power to make that possible. I'm currently president of Save the Dunes. I'm chair of the Michigan City Sustainability Commission. I have been in charge of many committees for various environmental organizations at both the local, the state, and the national level. So you can count on me to protect what's important to each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And Tracy, your final question. Do you have a plan to alleviate homelessness, especially in the Uptown Arts District?
In regards to the homeless, I think that we need that the current council and the new incoming council need to look at vacant buildings that we currently have available, if those buildings can be purchased back by the city and possibly then functioned and operated by the city, of allowing those buildings to become homeless shelters, a place for the homeless to go to. I mean, we have a lot of vacant, abandoned buildings here in Michigan City that's just sitting there. And we can utilize that to give them a place to where they can go and have a peaceful night, a meal, a shower, and any type of learning skills, computers and things as such. If we're able to get that implemented, that would be great.
Okay, thank you. And Nancy Moldenauer, your final question. Do you have a plan to deal with abandoned and dilapidated houses?
Yes, I do believe some of them have reached the point that they can't be brought back. And if that's the case, they do need to be torn down. We have too many of these visual blights within our community, and it reflects very poorly on what I know to be a community that definitely cares about itself and is proud about itself too. I believe that we do need to work with all of the housing commissions, committees, and agencies within our community to have an approach that's going to look from many different angles and to be very concerned about the residents that may be getting pushed out of their housing because of high-level development that could be coming into our community. So we need to take that into account. I think we need to be very proactive about this so that we're not caught off guard. We all know this is potentially what could happen because of gentrification. So I'm committed to everybody having a home that's safe, secure, and affordable.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and now I ask for each of you to give your 1-minute closing statement, and we will begin with Tracy Tillman.
Well, for the next 4 years, I'm claiming that now. And for my constituents, I first would just like to say, because my ward has changed, I no longer go past South Cool Spring. And for those that elected me and put me in this seat from that area, I want to thank you. And those that I have gained, which is from Poplar to Cleveland, I welcome you and I look forward to meeting you. I will be out introducing myself personally, and that my intentions are going to be intentional. And you see me for who I am. I'm very transparent, and that it's changed for the people, by the people. Thank you.
Thank you. And Nancy Moldenauer, your closing statement, please.
Again, I want to thank the League of Women Voters for this opportunity, and also every single resident of Michigan City who has turned out this evening, because you are concerned about our community and you do love it as much as I do. I left for approximately 20 years, and I made a conscious decision to come back here because I love Lake Michigan, I love our city, and I love our residents. And as I said before, I'm committed to health, well-being, and quality of life for every single individual, neighborhood, and our whole city. And I want you to really get that, because that's what I believe in. I will use every single ounce of my energy, my brain power, and my spirit to make that possible. I am a transparent leader. I'm inclusive, strategic, and visionary. I will support work opportunities and economic development through partnerships, cooperation, and collaboration.
Okay. Thank you very much. Nancy Moldenauer, 6th Ward Democratic candidate, and Tracy Tillman, 5th Ward Democratic candidate. Thank you. You may be seated again in the audience, and now I ask the at-large candidates to come forward. Whoops. That's what I get for ignoring you. Yes. Okay. Okay. Okay, let me get it. Okay. Okay, we have 6 candidates for Michigan City Common Council at-large seats. And 4 of those candidates are here tonight. 2 that are not here, Elizabeth Bergeron had expected to be here and had to cancel at last minute. The other Republican candidate was not expecting to be here. But the 4 that we have here are 4 Democratic candidates: Timothy Beatry, Bryant Dabney, Dr. Vidyakora, and Donald Prisbalinski, and welcome all of you tonight. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
So we'll begin with 2-minute opening statements, and we'll begin with Tim Beatry, please.
Thank you to the League and to ALCO. I was a city councilman here from 2012 to 2019, and I told the community at that time that my family was planning to move out of town, and because of that, I would not be a candidate for re-election. Well, situations change. We did not move, and we don't plan to move. So I firmly believe in service, especially public service. I think it's the rent we pay for the space we take up. So I'm back. I have a wealth of experience in my 8 years with City Council. I retired as an educational administrator at Elston and then at Michigan City High School, and I retired as president of the Chamber of Commerce. A main focus for me is a return to civility in government. Politeness and courtesy at all levels seems to give way to factionalism, arguments, finger-pointing, and blaming everyone but ourselves. It takes all in government to govern fairly, not just Democrats, not just Republicans. Politics is too often the antithesis of good government, and I very much favor nonpartisanship. I advocate improving educational outcomes, improving the workforce development, addressing the needs of business and industry through expansion and attraction, and I see improving schools by increasing STEM schools. They're a proven plus for not only the schools but the community. I was a part of a group with mayoral candidate Angie Deitch that took several high school students this week to the Carpenter's Apprenticeship Program in Maryville and to Franciscan Alliance here in Michigan City to explore careers in skilled trades. For a lot of our kids, a 4 years liberal arts degree does not guarantee any marketable skills or any livelihood for the future. Skilled trades do, and they don't carry any educational debt with them either. I'm a strong advocate for community development and improvement and public safety, and I pledge to work with everyone involved to provide a safer, wholesome community for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and Bryant Dabney.
Hello, thank you for having us here tonight. My name is Bryant Dabney. I am the current First Ward councilman, but I'm actually running for at-large this time around. Born and raised here in Michigan City, from Eastport Elementary to Krieger Junior High to Elston High School, off to the University of Notre Dame, then back into the community here in Michigan City, where I was born and raised. I had chances to leave this community to go elsewhere, but I saw the importance of what was going on here in the city, especially with a nephew of mine who was being raised, and he needed a father figure, so I decided to stay. I thought that was very important at the time, rather than me take a job in New York, to stay here to raise my nephew, to help raise my nephew. And then Mayor Oberle assigned me to the Park and Recreation Board of Directors. And that is where I learned the inner workings of city government. I became more interested in it as time went by, and that is why I decided to do my first run as a city council member here in Michigan City. I've been a part of many boards. I'm the only council member that has done the Promise Scholarship, the Double Tracking Project, as well as being on the train station selection committee. So I have quite the experience, and I want to continue that good work going forward. I like to call myself a voice of reason here on the city council, and I plan to continue that. Real quick, the three things I believe that Michigan City really needs to focus on right now: safety, safety, safety first, housing, and then annexation. When I get a chance later on at the end, I will explain the annexation and how important that is to grow our city, to bring more people, more business into our city limits. I am ready and able to continue my work to be a representative of Michigan City and represent this city to the best capability that I have. Thank you.
Thank you. And Dr. Cora?
Good evening, fellow citizens of Michigan City. Let me begin by thanking the League for having us here. I'm Vidya Cora, and I'm running for City Council at large. And the couple of minutes that I have, I'm going to share my vision for our city's future. As a long-term resident of Michigan City, I understand the unique challenges and opportunities that our city faces. My experience as a member of the school board has taught me the importance of collaboration and consensus building to achieve our goals. As your city councilor, I'll bring the spirit of cooperation to the table, ensuring that every voice is heard and every idea is considered. My top priority as a councilor will be to promote balanced economic growth. We need to attract new businesses to our city while also supporting the growth of our existing businesses. This means creating a business-friendly environment that incentivizes companies to invest in our community while ensuring that our city remains affordable and accessible to all. One area where we can promote economic growth is by implementing proper implementation of double tracking. This will not only provide better transportation to our residents, but will also encourage more commerce, more investment into our city. I'll work hard to make this a reality by partnering with other local organizations, regional organizations, other elected officials to make sure that we fully realize the potential of double tracking. Education has always been a top priority for me, and that's the reason why I serve on the school board. I have seen firsthand how critical education is to the success of our city. I will work to ensure that our schools receive the funding and resources they need to provide our children with high-quality education. And my last priority, one of the other important priorities, is to attract younger people into our city. And for that, we have to create an environment that is vibrant and welcoming. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Donald Przybylski.
Good evening, everyone. I am Don Przybylski, and I want to thank the League of Women Voters for this opportunity to speak tonight. I am presently Councilman at Large and have been on the City Council for 3 terms. I'm seeking re-election. I was born and raised in Michigan City. Graduated from Manchester College with a degree in Business Administration and Economics, and worked at U.S. Steel for 36 years in the transportation and environmental management areas, with a specific focus on safety, productivity, and budgetary responsibilities. While serving on the council, I have served as president, vice president, chairman of the Finance Committee, chairman of the Labor Relations Committee, also the Human Rights Commission, and various other committees, and past president of the LaPorte County Solid Waste District. My 3 major objectives for the next 4 years: number 1, public safety is a must. And one of the reasons for that is the shots fired issue that we have going on in Michigan City at the present time. We need to get that under control. But anyway, moving on, I continue to support the police and fire departments, initiating from fighting crime and fire protection. And I have always voted for every equipment purchase presented to the City Council for the police and fire departments. Quality of life, investigate new housing options, support income and job expansion initiatives, continue to coordinate the Fetters Alley new all-inclusive playground at Fitness Park. And finally, fiscal responsibility. One of the council's main responsibilities is to pass a balanced budget every year. And the 2023 budget was at $63 million.
Okay.
You want
Thank you.
someone
Your
with
time is up.
experience that can handle that type of budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And first question will be for Dr. Cora.
Yes.
What differentiates you from other candidates?
You know, first of all, I have had the experience. I've been in public service for over 2 decades. I've served on the school board. I have been a county commissioner and also a county coroner. And I'm also in the healthcare field. And there's a lot that happens in healthcare that is important for the well-being of our community. So the one thing that differentiates me from everybody else is my profession.
Okay, thank you. And Don Prisbalinski, what is your top priority, and what are your ideas to address this issue?
Oh, well, as I just mentioned, my top priority is protection, public safety in Michigan City. We're working with the police department right now to, with the lit tax, to give them raises. The same thing with the fire department in order to recruit the maximum amount of officers that we need, and officers are not leaving. The other thing is to work with the shots fired, like I had mentioned, and I know that tomorrow morning I'm going to meet with the chief of police on two issues that just took place on the west side. One is over on Hayes Avenue, where there were shots fired that actually went through, there's a daycare center over there, where shots actually went through the bus itself, busted the windows out, went into another house right next door. It has to stop, because something serious is going to happen. So that's my top priority is public safety.
Thank you. And Bryant Dabney, what differentiates you from the other candidates?
What differentiates me from the other candidates is the ability to reason, the ability to see all of the issues, and to be able to respond to those in the best way to help our city move forward. I really feel like I have the ability to analyze the situation, analyze the problems, and make the best decisions for the city of Michigan City. I have experience with the budget. I believe that I am the best city councilman at the budget. I not only study that when it's time to do the budget, I look at that budget throughout the year. And that makes me strong in terms of where our money's going, where can we spend, what can we afford to do. I believe that's our biggest responsibility, and I think I differentiate myself in that way by asking the proper questions of our controller's office, as well as having my own experience to do these things. So I think I am very averse at the budget, as well as some other things, but I'm running out of time to be able to tell you about them.
Okay, thank you. And Tim Beatry, what is your top priority for Michigan City, and what are your ideas to address the issue?
Well, I agree with a lot of the candidates who've spoken already about safety. Safety is a major concern in Michigan City, as it is in all communities. But my main concern is what I mentioned earlier: civility in government. The reason, the difference between what we do and what we're capable of doing could solve almost all of the world's problems. The difference is we don't do those things. We're capable of doing more than we do because we don't get along with one another. We're not civil. Democrats don't talk to Republicans. The council doesn't get along with the mayor. The city doesn't get along with the county. And at the national level, it's all Democrats versus Republicans, not issues that are important to everyone. So I think we all need to work together to solve these problems, or they're never going to get solved. And that includes safety at the local level. We've got to get better at being civil with one another and being courteous and being polite as we deal with one another.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And a question now for Bryant Dabney. How will you strike a balance between resident needs and those of commercial developers?
Between resident need and commercial developers. Well, that requires the one word, communication. I am the council person, especially in my ward, the first ward as of now. I am the only council member who has neighborhood associations in my ward. I have the Elston Grove Neighborhood Association, Eastport Neighborhood Association, the Canada Neighbors, and the Sheridan Beach. I meet with them, I collect their ideas, and bring those forward. Now, relating those ideas to what's happening with the business community, I go home, take a shower, put on a shirt and tie, and I'm able to meet with those people and talk on that level with them as well, to be able to analyze those facts and to make the best decisions. So the way I see my role as a councilman, I have to be able to talk with those people who are trying to develop here in Michigan City and then be able to relate those ideas back to my public. They hired me for a reason, to be able to speak on their behalf for those things, and I have to convince them that I am making the best decisions for them and the city of Michigan City.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, and next, question for Dr. Cora. If you are elected, what steps will you take to prevent a cyber attack and not having to pay a terrorist's ransom to get the city's computers back online?
Maybe it's whoever asked, because I went through that as a county commissioner. Yeah. I think cybersecurity is a extremely important topic, and I think we need to work with our IT department to make sure that we take every possible precaution to protect our computer systems, and also continuously educate the staff in the city to make sure that they do whatever it needs to be done to not to expose our computers to cyber attacks. I think those are important. Then obviously, having insurance is important to help take care of it, and then also working with our state officials and federal officials, because this is not a local problem, it's a national problem. And I think I have the experience of dealing with this before, and I really appreciate this question because it's a very important question.
Okay, thank you. And a question for Don Prispolinski. Will you ever vote to either annex or grant the abatement to any property located within the boundaries of the US 421/I-94 County TIF District?
Before I would vote on any area that was in a TIF district, or for tax abatement, or anything to that sort, I have to have all the information in front of me, what effect it'll have on the city itself. I'm all about expanding the city and getting more businesses in the Michigan city and expanding the city. Everybody wants to see the city expand. But I have to have all the proper facts and figures in front of me before I make a decision like that, because that decision affects the city forever. It's not just an easy decision to make. So everything has to be presented to me, and at the time, I will look at it, and if it makes sense, then I will vote for it. If not, I will not vote for it. Thank you.
Thank you. And Tim Beatry, a question for you. Do you plan to continue to offer the Michigan City Promise Scholarship to students whose families rent?
I'm a big advocate of the Promise Scholarship. I'm an advocate of anything that will help kids once they graduate from high school or be successful in high school. When we initially started the Promise Scholarship, there was a lot of debate about whether we should allow parochial students in. There were a lot of families who were Michigan City area school students but lived outside the Civil City who had concerns. And I know when I left the council, there was a lot of money left in that account that had not been used yet. We thought it was going to disappear more quickly than it had. So if there's still funds in there, I'm in favor of expanding it beyond where we are right now and accessing and allowing more students to take advantage of that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and for final question for each of you, we'll begin with Don Prispolinski. How do you think commercial growth can see development in the designated historical areas?
Well, I think commercial growth can go anywhere where it's zoned properly to put the commercial growth. And if it coincides with the regulations in the historic district, I see no problem with commercial growth going in those areas.
Okay, thank you. This will be for Dr. Cora. Do you have a plan to alleviate homelessness, especially in the Uptown Arts District?
You know, one of the things when we address homelessness is we need to address the root cause of homelessness. I have always felt that mental illness is one of the root causes of homelessness, substance abuse and mental illness. And I see that in my practice every day. And I think what we need to do is we need to figure out what are the underlying causes of homelessness and see what are the resources that are available. Sometimes I see among my own patient population that they have access to resources that they are not aware of, and we want to make sure that all those resources are brought to bear, and that way we can alleviate homelessness. And also for the temporary housing before we can find permanent housing. I think we need to have facilities, and that's something. It's an ongoing thing that we need to continue to work on.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and for Brian Dabney, how will you make sure you are accessible to interact with your constituents?
To make sure you're accessible, like I stated before in the first ward, I did have my ward divided into different areas. Like I said, the Eastport neighborhood group, the Canada neighbor group, the Sheridan Beach homeowners, and the Elston Grove Neighborhood Association. So they arrange meetings on a monthly basis that I attend. That allows me to speak to many people at once, take in their ideas, and then relay those ideas back to City Hall in the form of maybe complaints, whatever it may be, or even trying to pass certain ordinances in order to alleviate some of their issues. And you have to be able to monitor phone calls and things like that coming into you as well. But I am a firm believer that if you put yourself out there and divide people into these groups, you form these neighborhood groups where they take ownership of them, they will come to you. And they will actually get in these meeting groups and let you know their concerns with the areas that they're living in here in Michigan City. And I plan to do that with all of the areas of Michigan City as I expand my neighborhood from the first ward to the whole city.
Thank you. Okay. And final question for Tim Beatry. What would you do to increase the availability of affordable housing?
I think Michigan City historically, when we have addressed housing, has addressed affordable housing and low-income housing. So I think we've done a good job of attempting to get gains in those areas, and I think we should continue to do that. I think one of the candidates earlier had a good idea when he mentioned that we have dilapidated housing, and rather than demolish it, is there a way we can improve it and bring it back to where it's back on the tax rolls? But in Michigan City, a major problem we have is housing that's not necessarily low-income housing, but housing that's in the mid-range, because any realtor you talk to now, and I've talked to a lot of them, has told me that we have a lot of people who want to move into Michigan City, but they can't find affordable housing in the range that they want to pay, they want to buy into. Now, maybe the development on the You Are Beautiful property will help, but we were talking about that 4 years ago, and we still don't have a shovel in the ground yet. So,
okay.
More work to do there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all very much for your answers. And each candidate may now give their 1-minute closing statement, and we'll begin with Tim Beatry.
We are all products of our past experiences. When faced with a challenge, we tend to access all of our knowledge about the nature of the problem, the strategies we've used in the past that have been successful or maybe have failed, and then develop a strategy based upon that knowledge. My experiences in the military, in the Air Force as a high school principal, as the president of the Chamber of Commerce, working with businesses and industries, and as a former public servant here on the Chamber, have given me a rich background of valuable experiences to draw from about what's important. Some of those strategies that have worked. I think I can be very good at building consensus toward pursuing success. I've been a resident of Michigan City for 50 years. I appreciate the trust you've given me in 2012 and 2016, and I ask for continued support to do what's best for Michigan City as we move forward.
Thank you. And Bryant Dabney?
Quickly, just want to mention that, once again, Bryant Dabney, running for council at large. I'm your current first ward councilman. But I believe, something that also distinguishes me from any other council member. I have the ability to talk to anyone in our city. I love to use the saying, I can go out onto the playground and talk to the people who are playing basketball there in the afternoon, run home, take a shower, come here and meet for a board meeting with huge companies that are trying to develop in Michigan City. I have the ability to talk to anyone at any time here in Michigan City about the improvements in Michigan City. I really believe that my heart is in this city, and I will do whatever I can to improve it, whether it's education, whether it's continuing our annexation policies that I'm a big fan of, and just moving this city forward with safety and other things as well. I really believe I have the heart to do this, and it's been going for 8 years now, and I plan to do it for another 4 to make it 12.
Thank you. And Dr. Cora?
So my goal, if I'm elected to the council, is to work to make Michigan City a place that people of all ages and all backgrounds are proud to call home. And to make that happen, we need good leadership. Leadership is absolutely essential, whether it's a family, whether it's a business, or whether it's a community. We need leaders who are accountable, transparent, and committed to serving the needs of our community. I believe I have the qualifications to serve on the City Council because of my experience, my commitment to consensus building, and my commitment to civility, and my vision for the future of our city. I'm asking for your support and for your vote in the upcoming election. Let's all work together to make Michigan City the best it can be. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Don Prisblinski?
Yeah, thank you very much. I just want to backtrack a little bit and talk about the Promise Scholarship Program. And one of the major accomplishments that I've had being on the City Council from a 6-3 vote is that the Promise Scholarship Program has been expanded now to both renters and children that go to Marquette High School. There's $3 million in that fund, so it's going to take care of all that. So that's what we accomplished on the City Council. I have a proven record of fiscal responsibility. I have a well-balanced knowledge of city government and how to get concerns resolved. I consider every concern or issue from residents, and I try to resolve them through collaboration, city departments, and my track record of responsiveness through many of you here in the audience know that I get things done. So with my record of experience and strength in city government, I appreciate your support for re-election to City Councilman at large. And I love Michigan City. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to all 4 of our Democratic candidates for at-large Michigan City Common Council. Thank you for being here tonight and sharing your views with us. Thank you. And now we invite the mayor candidates to come up here. And seated now are the candidates for the mayor of Michigan City. There are 7 candidates, and all are present tonight. Thank you all for that. The candidates present are 5 Democratic candidates, and that is Michael Mack, Ron Meir, Angela Nelson Deitch, Johnny Stimley, and Mark Yagelski, and our Republican candidate, Dwayne Perry, and Libertarian candidate, Mike Walker. Thank you all for attending this tonight, all of you. And each candidate may now give a 2-minute opening statement, and we will begin with Dwayne Perry.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. And thank you, League of Women Voters and Access LaPorte County for hosting this event. I'm Dwayne Perry, Michigan City's mayor. I'm a hometown product, born here, raised on the west side, 609 West 10th Street, and then on the south side, 2206 Maple Street, a block south of Gardena. I'm educated locally, Elston High School, Purdue University, with a bachelor's, studying civil engineering. And then I spent 40 years working for international engineering construction companies, all located in the United States. I was a councilman from 12 to 16. After returning home in 2006, I saw the need. And now I'm your mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. And next, Mike Walker, Libertarian candidate.
I would like to thank the League of Women Voters. I'd like to thank Michigan City for this chance. Today, I come in as a newly candidate for mayor of Michigan City. I'm kind of the new guy on the block. I'm just like everyone up here right now, everyone that loves Michigan City. I believe in Michigan City. I actually went to school here at Ivy Tech for business management. I currently work for South Bend School System. I currently oversee 200 employees. So that's the reason why I'm here today, because I like the way Michigan City is going. I like how the future of Michigan City is proceeding itself, and I'd like to be a part of that.
Thank you. And Michael Mack.
Thank you. And thank the League of Women Voters for putting all of this together. It's got to be a lot of work. My name is Michael Mack. I am a current 3rd Ward City Councilman here in Michigan City. I am a product of Michigan City, a couple of generations. Matter of fact, had some athletic experience back in the day. A lot of people know me from that. Went to college in Adrian, Michigan, got a BA degree in business. Moved back to Michigan City when the Lighthouse first opened. And I grew with that company all the way up to regional manager, and I had desires to be a regional manager for the U.S. Shoe Corporation, which was the largest shoe corporation in the world at the time, but they got bought out by 9 West, and I became the largest regional manager for the biggest women's shoe company in the world, and moved over to Best Buy, traveled with them to a lot of places. My wife and I have been married 30 years. We had a couple kids. Daughter that graduated from Michigan. Both of my kids graduated from Michigan City, and I think that differentiates some of my experiences, that one of my kids was a straight A student and the other was autistic. And got a lot of things I could talk about in that area. So I'm a big believer in Michigan City. I just believe we need to do a lot more on the cultural developing youth. And I'll get into that a little later. Thank you.
Thank you. Ron Mears is next.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and it was so refreshing to hear about the importance of experience from so many of the candidates that have spoken this evening. I have over 30 years of municipal experience, and that's Michigan City municipal experience. 8 years of serving as your mayor, 8 years on the city council, served on the redevelopment commission, the Board of Public Health and Safety, and Human Rights Commission, and several others. That's so important that we had some very extremely successful years from basically 2012 till the end of 2019 in Michigan City with progression. My platform is straightforward. Public health and safety. We must get the Michigan City Police Department's numbers back to where they were, invest in them, utilizing the lit tax for pay increases, for specialty pay, and I even believe in a recruiting and retention, we would offer the promised scholarship to police officers and firefighters in our community, emergency personnel. The roads are deteriorating in Michigan City. I would say 60 to 70% of our roads and streets need to be repaved, repaired. The fight on blight. We must continue to address dilapidated properties, whether we are remodeling them or we're demolishing them. Sometimes they're beyond remodeling, and no one wants to invest in them. So you demolish them, you clear the lot, and you keep the lot maintained. There's that, and the trash and debris throughout our city. I've never seen it as bad as it's been in the last 3 years, but this last year, trash and debris is just, it's embarrassing. So we have to continue to invest in Michigan City. We have to get our departments working together again as they did through 2012 through 2019. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Angela Nelson Deitch.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Angie Nelson Deitch, and the first thing I would like to say is I wake up with Michigan City on my mind, and I go to sleep with Michigan City on my mind every single day. I serve as a councilwoman at large, and this is my second term as a councilwoman at large. Born and raised here in Michigan City, oldest of 7 kids, left for about 15 years after college and moved around. Over 25 years of experience in management with the phone company, with Dwyer Instruments, and with NIPSCO. And what I would like to say, the reason why I'm running for mayor of Michigan City, I made this decision 2 years ago. And my whole well-being, everything about me is about people. How do I help people? When I first moved back to Michigan City in 2003, it'd be 20 years. First thing I did is I connected with Becky Williams, joined the Hope Board on the west side, started a Girl Scout troop at Mullen School, created a soccer camp at Michigan over in Lakeland on Martin Luther King Drive. It's all about kids and how do we develop them and make a city that is enticing for them. I raised my kids here, and they were successful in school. And I think that if we provide opportunities for our young people and that we create a neighborhood system that is empathetic to the needs of people, that's what you want in a mayor. Someone who's been through some of those struggles too. And, the decision was a hard decision in the sense that, I had to make a decision on, what I want to do with my career. And this is it. I want to be mayor of Michigan City so that people have a chance and an opportunity. And that means all people in Michigan City. Thank you.
Thank you. And Johnny Stimley, please.
First of all, I want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this event. Like you said, my name is Johnny Stimley. I have a background. I was a city councilman. I was county recorder. I served on numerous boards in the county, such as the Water Board, the Zoning Board. A lot of people relate me to the Washington Park Zoo, which I've been on the society for 25 years, president for 20 years. I was involved with the Main Street Association for 30 years, and the Lighthouse Museum also for a long time, and the treasurer there. But I can give the best speech there is tonight and tell you what you want to hear, but words alone ain't going to solve our problems in Michigan City. The city needs a vision, it needs a plan. I've been out in the community, and I see a lot of people have the same vision as I do and the same plan as I do. It's not about I, it's about teamwork. I believe we have to work with the city council with this. My father was a firefighter for 20 years. My grandfather, a police officer in Michigan City for 20 years. Public safety is #1 with me in neighborhoods. I believe it comes down to youth programming. I've been doing youth programming. I've been teaming up with people. I created the Zoological Society Junior Board. I have a youth center right now going. I will work with the juvenile center to get the youth off the streets and get them into programming. Like you said, words alone can't solve it. I'm here for the city. I love Michigan City. I'm going to do what I can for Michigan City. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mark Ugalski.
My name is Mark Ugalski. I'm asking for your support for be the next mayor of Michigan City. I'm a product of born and raised here in Michigan City. Went to school at Riley Barker Junior High School in Rogers. I've got 45 years experience in the steel mill as a supervisor. I'm also your county councilman, District 3, which is part of Michigan City. I've been an advocate for trying to get money for our area. I started out, when I started as a council, I met with Chris Cola, who was a Republican congressman, and I received a $1 million earmark. And I was really proud to get that project through for 2 bridges that were in LaPorte County. And my next step that I took, I worked with Joel Donnelly, Congressman, and we got a $2 million grant to do this, to do the study for the double track. When that happened, I had to go to Washington, D.C. to meet with the transportation director, Overstar, and between myself and Mr. Donnelly, we were able to get the $2 million. Also, I was on the NICTE board for 17 years. With that experience I had, I was able to go back and forth to Washington and to Indianapolis to get our tax dollars back where it belongs to us. I believe that Highway 30 division line is always where the money stops at, and we haven't got our fair share of our tax dollars. And that's what I want to do as I'm mayor and have the ability to do that. I want to bring Michigan City back to the forefront. I think that we need some strong planning and leadership. And with planning and leadership, with the ability, with the double track, I think it's going to be our future, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And now I have a question for, that's going to be for two of the candidates tonight, for Mark Yagelski and for Angie Nelson-Deitch, same question. We'll begin with Mark Yagelski. How do you plan to attract, recruit, and retain new police and fire personnel?
I'm going to do the same thing we did in the county, where we took and we went through and got the raises brought back up to some par. There's going to be a difficult, no matter where we're at here, because we're going to have this issue where other counties in the community are going to have to raise their money too. So there will be a bidding war, but we have to get the best rate that we can to keep officers and the firefighters for our community. We've done it with the county, and I can do it with Michigan City.
Thank you. And Angie Nelson-Deitch, same question. How do you plan to attract, recruit, and retain new police and fire personnel?
Well, first of all, the council is working through the negotiations for police and fire for raises, and I would support that. But what I'm looking at doing is creating a public health and safety leadership rotation program, and I've explained this. And through the A.K. Smith Center, and I've sat on that board, I will work with the students that are graduating from LaPorte County Career and Tech Education from EMT, criminal justice, and fire science, and create a rotational leadership program where we will hire them at 18 and 19 years old and rotate them into the system of learning about the city. And what that would do is allow them to learn about planning, learn about maintenance, learn about central services, and get them ready for PERF. And with doing that, we create our own pipeline of people who will live here and stay here versus people that are coming here to be trained to go back home. So that is the platform, and that's what I plan to do.
Thank you. Thank you. And now a question that I'm going to ask three candidates, and that will be Mike Walker, Ron Meir, and Johnny Stimley. We'll begin with Mike Walker. How would you mobilize city personnel or community members to address the trash and blight in the city?
I will work with our parks and recreation team, get them on the ground floor of Michigan City, get them to, I think we have to, as a community, come together, and we have to do the greater good of Michigan City. We will have to build our park and recreation development companies up, and get them involved in the community as well.
Thank you. And Ron Meir.
Well, I would do what we did before, where we utilized all of our city departments and worked in a co-op. And so you had every department, and I'm talking about the Port Authority, the Park Department, Street Department, Sanitation, everyone working on this trash and debris and problem areas. We utilized the Department of Corrections also through our Michigan City Police Department, where we had crews from the Indiana State Prison coming out and cleaning up areas. And we used neighborhood groups also at times in certain cleanups. But the key part is having the city departments working as a co-op to attack and address that issue, which is extremely bad right now. And I would even entertain a special crew of vector control workers that did nothing but go to certain problem areas throughout the city and address those trash and debris areas.
Okay, thank you. And Johnny Stimley, same question.
Like you said, both the candidates pretty much summed it up. I know when we were at the Washington Park Zoo, we did have the prisoners, and we worked with the Sheriff's Department to come in and clean up. Like you said, they can do this for the city also. Get with the Sheriff's Department. I know it's been done before. That's one of the things that I would do. And like you said, it comes down to working together with all the different departments to make this happen also.
Okay, thank you. And a question now for Dwayne Perry and for Michael Mack. What steps will you take to fill all vacancies that currently exist in city offices, including city engineer, city forester, deputy city attorney, and code enforcement officers? And we'll begin with Dwayne Perry.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. We are shorthanded. We have a hard time covering what we have now with all of the areas that we've annexed, all the parks we've built. So we advertise. We're advertising on Indeed. We're advertising like but first of all, I have to comment on the forester. I personally searched for a forester. Foresters do not work for municipalities. They work for Weyerhaeuser. They work for Georgia Pacific. They monitor the growth of forest, marketing lumber. I have also searched for an arborist. That is what we need. An arborist knows what trees are invasive, what trees need to be saved, and where to plant them. We have an arborist that we are waiting for just to get out of school in a couple months, and we have one that we're about to hire. So we're searching deeply for these employees. Thank you.
Thank you. And Michael Mack.
My experience in hiring and developing and training and attracting people to the businesses that I've worked in is it's not always just pay. A lot of it is the culture you create, the environment you create, your leadership style, how you listen. I think listening and active listening, it's just hard for me to believe that there's not more at stake when you've got positions that all pay more than the average salary of the Michigan City average resident, but we can't find anybody to fill them. So our housing situation is an issue that may contribute to some of that. But people that are looking for these professional positions that require a lot of education, they want to work in a professional environment with people that they believe they can grow from. And I think I can deliver that, and I think I can convince people that we can all win together, working together as a team.
Okay, thank you. And now this is going to be a question for all 7 of you. I think we'll begin at this end, go this direction, just to do it, because it's a very important issue. What is your plan to help bridge a better relationship between Michigan City Police and African American citizens? And we'll begin with Mark Yagelski.
Thank you. One of the groups that we looked at, even in the county, was to look for an advisory board group to people get together. And we went out and we brought people from different aspects of the community in the county, and I believe the same situation happens for the city. I know community policing is very important. It's a good tool to use. One of the key things we have is to keep the interest. The advisory board, what happens a lot of times is you get these boards together, they have a couple good ideas. Like one time we had 20 different advisory boards. You get good ideas, and they get a couple things accomplished, and they kind of fizzle out. So what we need to do is we need to go ahead and try to work forward to keep the interest in those advisory boards so that we can get that communication going. Thank you.
Thank you. And Johnny Stimley.
One of the things I would definitely do to bridge the gap is youth programming. Like you said, with the youth center, something I've been working on for a long time that's finally going to become a reality. One of the things I was doing was working with the last police chief, to putting him on the board to identify the problems with these kids, to bridge the gap between them, to work with the juvenile center, and to get them more involved with the police. Like I said, with a lot of the different programs, we have to gauge the kids with the police, because that's where some of the problems are coming from. And I believe I can do this, and I have done it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike Walker.
Well, just kind of like what John was stating, we have to have our police department present in our communities. We have to bridge that gap between, the youth and a lot of the more diverse culture in our city. Right now in our economy, and even on TV right now, with the police department and with the community is becoming divided, so we have to build that bridge. But we got to be present as well. We got to sometimes come out of our cars and do more groundwork, engage with the community as well, be present, and make sure that that type of culture we build up for our city.
Thank you. And Dwayne Perry.
Thank you. I've discussed this at length with our police chief, Steve Forker. We have funded a mental health specialist to assist us to diffuse situations, and our police are constantly undergoing training to avoid confrontation. But the bottom line is they still have to enforce the law. What I've told every one of our police officers, you will be professional, you'll be polite, and you will be courteous to every person that you meet until they do not return it to you. But we still have to enforce the law. Thank you.
Thank you.
Building trust is going to be number one. Or engaging early and often is probably priority number one for me. I know that we talk about community policing, but we know we don't have the staff right now. But we have to transition to a different model, and as mayor, I would have that task force. We talk about task force, but I would ask the city council to buy into it as a co-chair of that committee. And it's been done in multiple cities. You can look at Muncie, and we need to really look at our neighboring states and cities that have done some very powerful things. We tend to look inward and not outward. And I've built relationships across the region, and the mayor's night out against crime, that'll be something that will happen. We will rotate into different neighborhoods, because the trust piece is really the key to policing. If you don't build trust with people that trust you, and they don't see people that look like them and engage with them, you will never get anywhere with punitive policing. It has to be community policing.
Thank you. Yeah.
So we had several community policing programs that were put in place during my administration, such as when you look at the Youth Academy, bringing in the youth and interacting with police officers. We were going out to neighborhood parks with our police officers. One of the issues, and it is right now, is manpower. And until we get the full strength, what I believe the Michigan City Police Department needs to be at least at 93 officers again, sworn men and women of the police officers that are in place, that allows you to do more community policing. Right now we're shorthanded, we're utilizing overtime, and that's why I keep emphasizing as far as being proactive on recruitment and retention of getting this lit tax. Not sure why it's not being utilized yet to get higher raises and salaries, and offering the promised scholarship to Michigan City police officers' families, so that we have something that's competitive beyond anybody else in the region.
And Michael Mack.
First thing I think you need to do is identify the actual problems, and those are many nowadays. These children are watching TikTok videos and things like that, and you're getting a cultural vision of what things are, and they're too young to really know. Policing is a very, very difficult job. Policing in a diverse neighborhood is a difficult job. Policing in a city that doesn't have a lot of outlets for youth to go to with adult supervised and organized activity. When I was a kid, we'd go to the basketball courts. Police officer may drive by, but it was just us out there. We cannot do those same things about just throw out some basketball and gives the kids something to do. They need to be around adults, organized and supervised. And back in the day, I remember police athletic leagues where the police used to box and do things with them. We got to create something that bridges that gap.
Okay, thank you all. That's a very important question. You all had very creative answers. Thank you for that. And now for your final question, I have two different questions and have assigned them to different people. The first one will be for Michael Mack, Mike Walker, Dwayne Perry, and Mark Yagelski. And this is, do you have plans to reconstruct Paz Road from Cleveland Ave Extension to Johnson Road so that our students and visitors can have a safe and smooth road to take them to and from Michigan City High School? We'll begin with Mark Yagelski.
Thank you. When Cleveland Avenue was first constructed, it was completely tore down to the base and reconstructed with a binder and then blacktop, two coatings on it. We had somehow the engineering either was not adequate. I've talked to many engineers on this. There's some theory that because it actually the bumps actually happen systematically, so every so many feet. There is some word that some engineers thought it was because of the blacktop when they stopped to put the next truck in, so on and so forth. So Cleveland Avenue is a great asset. We put a lot of money into that area. We need to develop it around there, and with new housing both on the county side and on the city side. So I think that we can all work together and find a way to make that happen.
Okay, thank you. And Dwayne Perry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, Paz Road is definitely going to be rebuilt, and I say rebuilt rather than repaved because it is an inadequate road. It was built at just 2 lanes with, as Mr. Yagelski said, with a substandard sub-base. So when it was widened, it was paved over the shoulders, which are totally inadequate. It's going to be nearly $1 million to do that because it has to be totally removed and rebuilt. And there is a coordination issue there because as you come off of Johnson Road, it's county. The entire, both lanes are county. As you approach the high school, then it splits. You have Canterbury on the north, which is inside Michigan City limits. The limits go up and around Canterbury. So you have sections that are the city's responsibility, then the county's, and then 1 lane of each. So yeah, it is going to be rebuilt. We just have to work out the responsibilities.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. And next, Mike Walker.
I believe we can repave that road to make it safer. It's all of our responsibility. Everyone up here to assure the safety of the public. We, just like Dwayne said earlier, is paved around that area throughout Cleveland Road, and I believe that we, as a community, we could come together and come up with different ideas to extend that road and pave that road better for safer people in the community. All right.
Thank you. And Michael Mack.
Well, I've heard the mayor talk about this before, and that is that road is on the vision. But I call something Cars and Concrete or People and Programming. I listen to a podcast called Strong Towns, and it talks about building towns from the inside out. I'm all for roads and bridges, or roads and pavement, but I don't think the return on investment is going to be like it used to be. 40 years ago, where all of us owned these houses, your house value would increase. With our rental situation, with our scarce housing, I don't believe fixing sidewalks and roads in certain areas should overshadow some of our needs of people and programming. So, yes, it's on the list. It should be on the list, but there is a limit to how much concrete we should lay if we've got limited resources.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And for the final question, for the final group of candidates, this will be for Angie Nelson Deitch, Ron Meir, and Johnny Stimley. Would you support moving the Indiana State Prison to Westville? And what would you do with the current property if that would happen? Angie Nelson Deitch?
Well, thank you for that, since I'm the one that pushed that through the READY grant. Well, the Indiana State Prison creates this vision of poverty for our community, and it taxes our school system, it taxes our neighborhoods, it does a lot to the stability of Michigan City. And of course I support moving it. And we have been a part of the READY grant that READY won from the Northwest Indiana Forum and to do a feasibility study. And that area would transform Michigan City. We have a transit development district that has been created that we have a once-in-a-lifetime chance to double in size. And with that prison gone, that means mixed-use housing, parks, neighborhoods, NIPSCO gone, access to the National Lakeshore Park, all those things. It transforms and doubles Michigan City.
Thank you. Thank you. And Ron Meir.
Well, absolutely. I would like to see the Indiana State Prison be removed from the west side of Michigan City. Where it goes, whether it's Westville, I'm not sure they would be more receptive to even having more correctional facilities in their community. But absolutely, that would be great for the west side of Michigan City, and the opportunities would be endless if the state prison wasn't there any longer. I mean, that's the entranceway to the only national park in the state of Indiana, the first and only, that Michigan City has not taken the opportunity of being the host city of a national park. I mean, when you look at other national parks around the United States, there are cities that adopt that national park and utilize it for their business and tourism and various other things. But absolutely, I don't know anyone that would probably be against it, and it would just bring up the value of the entire west side of Michigan City, which is basically lakefront property and national park front property.
Thank you. And Johnny Stimley.
Like you said, of course, I'd be in favor of locating the state prison. Of course, this would take a lot of work. With the state, I know Westville, their correctional center. I believe they put, millions and millions of dollars in theirs, which they're doing right now. It would have been maybe nice to talk to them about it. But like you said, it would change the whole west side with the national park system. Like you said, I know 3 million people visit the national park. The gateway to Michigan City. The housing would be endless there, the parks. Of course, I'd be in favor of relocating the prison.
Okay. Thank you very much. Well, thank you all of the mayoral candidates tonight for being here, for answering these questions. And I ask now for closing statements from each of you. If you wish to spend part of this time, further answering some of the questions that you were asked earlier, or that anybody else was asked, you can do that as part of your closing statement. You do have 1 minute total. So we will begin this time with Dwayne Perry, please.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Considering that we entered COVID March 12th of 2020, and we're still in it today, just 2 days ago, another member of my administration came down with it, we have had remarkable success. We will have shovels in the ground for 2 housing projects here this summer, and a third in fall, which will be the 113 single-family units that we haven't seen since Village Green was built in 1955. We're moving forward. We're moving forward in public safety. Our new police force, they're young, they're dedicated. That's the future of Michigan City. And quality of life. Quality of life has a lot of things. Jobs. I have 3 children. They're not here. One's in Wisconsin, one's in Maine, one's in Maryland. My goal is to keep future generations home. If we don't, we will not be Michigan City anymore. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mark Yagelski.
Thank you. Thank you for the League of Women Voters, and thank you, Access to LaPorte County, for us to have the opportunity to speak for everybody. The average home in Michigan City is 1944. Everybody understands in 1944 you had big living rooms, big dining rooms, so on and so forth. Now people like great rooms and other amenities that are out there. We either have to get new housing stock in, or we're not going to help create the area that we want to do in Michigan City itself. We had a company, Solar manufacturer, moved their engineering over to Chicago because of reasons that we don't offer the amenities that we have. My plan is on the west side. We have a lot of areas that were taken down. We have a lot of land available right now, and we need to work on new housing. The last one that we built was suburban estates. Suburban estates, you have to have a waiting list to get into. Before that, there was back in the 60s, we talked about Village Green and Forest Manor. So we need to go ahead and develop new housing and help bring new people back into Michigan City. Thank you.
Thank you. And next, Mike Walker.
If I elected for mayor of Michigan City, I believe in moving Michigan City forward. I believe in building the people of Michigan City up as well. I think we live in a very diverse community. I oppose to building not only the economy up on the off-peak hours of the year, just as well as the peak hours of the year. Michigan City has 7% of tourism during the summer, so I think we need to build that up closer to the winter days and the months to come.
Thank you. Johnny Stimley.
Over the years, our community has heard the voice of the Michigan City citizens through meetings, social media, and conversation. We took these ideas and visions to create my website, johnnystimley.com. You can talk about public safety, youth programming, road improvement, government accessibility, environment, job development, tourism. All the pieces must fit as a puzzle to make Michigan City go forward. My campaign has always been a grassroots campaign, the power for the people. You will see change if I'm mayor. I guarantee you that. No, enough's enough. A vote equals trust, and I hope you have that trust in me to become the next mayor of Michigan City. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Michael Mack.
I'm going to follow Johnny with that website. Mine is michaelwmack.com. If you want to hear exactly what I'm talking about in depth, just hit it. It's all there, and I'm pretty happy with the results. I currently work at the steel mills also. I'm a 13-year veteran in the roll shop. I work 12-hour days and 12-hour nights. I'm the swing shift, so I do both. I got off work and came here today. I've been a 6-year assistant coach for the Michigan City Unified Track Team. Used to call it Special Olympics. And I am very passionate about building and developing people. That's been all of what I'm, especially young people, but people in general, second chance and all of that stuff. Not just policing them. You'll hear it in my speeches. You'll feel it in my interactions. That's what I'm all about. It'll be built through quality interactions between adults and youth. We've got to get back to the basics. That's where a lot of these kids do not have the simple family structures that we've taken for granted a lot of times. And we have to build something that can do that. Thank you. michaelwmack.com.
Thank you. Angie Nelson Deitch.
Again, thank you, League of Women Voters, for having us here this evening. And I'm going to start in where I started. I wake up with Michigan City on my mind, and I go to sleep with Michigan City on my mind. And my work in the community has truly been a labor of love because of the community I was raised in and the people who have helped me. Being an empathetic and a servant leader is important for a mayor of Michigan City. I want to see all those same things. Expansion of scholarship programs for Michigan City residents, workforce development initiatives. We've already talked about changing some of our department heads to be, the Office of Education and Workforce Development, Human Rights Director and Community Engagement. All those things are important. And as mayor of Michigan City, you can count on me being that person that will listen and be empathetic in meeting the needs of every resident. Our website is Angie, the number 4MC.com, and my number is and thank you again for having us here
Thank you.
this evening.
And Ron Meir.
Well, I'm for the residents, and I've always been for the residents. And as if you look at my administration from 2012 to the end of 2019, we had some of the greatest progression in the last 50 years in the city of Michigan City, Indiana. And I want to say that we all want to do things. I have a proven track record of delivering. When I say I'm going to do something in this community, I don't make a promise. I tell everyone I'm going to do the best I can to get it done. And guess what? During that 8 years, we had a lot of great achievements in this city, a lot of things that people said could never be done. And when we talk about double tracking and the importance of managing that, we were there at the table in 2013, 14, the city of Michigan City, working with NICTY to make sure that things were going to be done correctly. And who manages double tracking the next 4 years or into the future is crucial. But my platform is simple: public health and safety. We got to get our police department strong again, fight on blight and trash and dilapidated properties, and we've got to fix our crumbling roads and streets. 70% of our roads need to be repaired in Michigan City right now.
Thank you. Well, thank you all for all of our mayor candidates tonight for being here. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. And the League of Women Voters wants to remind everyone again to take a look at our online voters guide, vote411.org. And remember, democracy is not a spectator sport. Be sure to participate by voting. We thank you all for attending this forum, and this concludes the forum for tonight. Thank you. Good night.
Great job.
Thank you. Great job.